What is up, everybody? The stage is set. The Super Bowl is upon us. Chiefs versus 49ers. And what I'm going to do here is give you a little bit of a mini betting preview on what I think about the game, between the matchups between the two teams, and then I will give out my official prediction, bets that I have already locked in, stuff like that. But before we get into it, I would appreciate it if everybody could subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are not already. If you're new, we had a rough championship weekend for the NFL playoffs. Admittedly, we had been on fire heading into that, but both of my early predictions for the championship weekend did not go well. I was on the Ravens -3. Obviously, they lost straight up. Not a great game. I was on the 49ers -6.5. Just a wild swing of emotions in that one. I thought they were going to get trounced. Then they were leading by 10. Then they gave up. They gave up that touchdown at the end of the game. I lost both of those plays. Not great. Prior to that, as I mentioned, I had been on fire with my NFL playoff picks. So let's hope we can bounce back for the Super Bowl. Again, make sure to subscribe if you're not already. Then, of course, leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts if you're riding with me on what my prediction ends up being. Or if you think I'm an idiot, any of those thoughts can be put in comments and it's totally fine. But let's get into the game. So here we're going to get started again. A little bit of a betting preview, just giving you my thoughts on the game itself. Obviously, everybody knows it's 49ers versus Chiefs. One thing that I did want to talk about is I found the line movement a little bit interesting. So I'm recording this Monday afternoon, hopefully posting shortly after. As soon as the 49ers won, lines were posted and the 49ers opened up. They were -2.5 point favorites when lines first opened up. Chiefs money line, you could get them, I believe, best offered at about +120. Then, as the night went on last night, money started creeping in on the Chiefs. I locked the Chiefs money line in at +115. So if you follow me on Pickett, that's what you will see. Then I woke up, I checked the odds. Now the best price you can get on Chiefs money line is +100. And the spread is mostly around 49ers -1. A couple 1.5s out there as well. It's mostly just a pick 'em at this point. So I do think it's kind of interesting, the spread movement. Again, this is early and it's going to fluctuate as the week goes on, but immediate money came in on the Chiefs. And then we'll see if it stabilizes from here or if it'll go back and swing towards the Chiefs, towards the 49ers, whatever that may be. Obviously, to get to the matchup a little bit, completely opposite paths to get here between these two teams. The Chiefs were the 3 seed. They had a pretty tough schedule to get to the Super Bowl if you just look at the teams that they played, and they had 2 road games. Whereas the 49ers, both games were at home. And they they should have lost both games so far. It's impressive that they did manage to come back and win at both games, especially coming back from 17 with a 49ers roster that generally isn't built to play from behind. Legitimately impressive comeback wins, both in the Lions and the Packers game. But what you cannot go without saying is that they should have lost both games. They got lucky to win both games. Now, if you want to tell me that they made winning plays and that the other teams didn't, that's fine. Packers dropping 2 interceptions that hit them directly in the hands, that was not the 49ers making a winning play. Brock Purdy was legitimately bad in about 95% of that Packers game. He had a great last drive to seal it. He was bad all of that game. Again, 2 interceptions hit the Packers right in the hands, and they dropped it. And the Packers missed a field goal that would have put them up 7. That's a huge deal. That was late in the fourth quarter. The 49ers came back and they scored a touchdown. That gave them the lead. That would have just tied it if the Packers had made a 40-yard field goal. Not only that, but that Packers game, the Packers had the ball inside the 49ers 25-yard line 6 times. 6 times. The 49ers, they only had that once. They scored 2 long touchdowns and they scored the only drive they had in the red zone. That's a little bit more of the 49ers red zone defense coming to play and the Packers not having that. But still, they got outplayed against the Packers. And then against the Lions was a mockery of how to blow a game and what the Lions did. And I'm not even talking about the 4th down decisions. I'm talking about Jahmyr Gibbs fumbled at their own 25-yard line when the 49ers were getting back momentum. I'm talking about that absurd Brandon Ayuk catch that literally hit the Lions defender in the face mask before Brandon Ayuk even touched the ball. I'm talking about 2 dropped passes from Josh Reynolds before we even talk about the 4th down conversions or non-conversions attempts from the Lions. If Josh Reynolds catches that 1 4th down that hit him, should have been caught, game's different. If Josh Reynolds catches the 3rd down that hits him directly in the hands, the game is different. Again, I don't mean to take anything away from the 49ers coming back. And Brock Purdy had an awesome second half against the Lions, and he had an awesome one drive against the Packers. The reality is they cannot play that way against the Chiefs and expect to win. And also the reality is Brock Purdy has played 8 playoff quarters, and he hasn't looked good for probably 5.5, 6 of those quarters. So you cannot expect him to play the way he did in the 49ers to win against the Chiefs. And the Chiefs' road to the Super Bowl, if you look at the teams they played and how they played, much, much more impressive. They beat the Dolphins at home, or the Dolphins were in Kansas City, so it was a home game for the Chiefs. Dolphins had the were the 6th best team according to DVOA. Now that game was played in frigid temperatures. Chiefs had to play in that type of weather too. The week after that, they had to travel to Buffalo, play the 3rd best team in the NFL according to DVOA, which was the Bills. They won in Buffalo. In that game, they only punted once. They took a blowtorch to the Bills defense. The following week against the Ravens, who were by far the best team in the NFL according to DVOA, they went to Baltimore. The best team, the best defense, the 4th best offense. They took it to the Ravens and they won by 7. They were up by double digits the majority of the game. Now, yes, the Chiefs didn't score a point in the second half. That's concerning. They also held the Ravens to only 10 points. So the week after, only punting once against the Bills, they held the 4th best offense to 10 points. Now, yeah, again, very, very concerning that them not scoring in the second half, but it's hard to argue that the Chiefs have had a more impressive path to the Super Bowl, both in who they've played and how they've played. For context, the Packers, 13th in the NFL according to DVOA. The Lions were 7th. So all 3 of the teams the Chiefs beat were ahead of the teams the Lions beat, or were ahead of the team that the 49ers beat, just in terms of DVOA, which I understand isn't perfect. No stat is. That's just what I'm looking at is DVOA. In terms of the actual matchup itself, to get into the nuts and bolts of it, the biggest advantage that the 49ers are going to have when they are on offense is on the ground. The 49ers ended the year with the 2nd best rushing offense in the NFL, according to DVOA. Now, of course, the Ravens, they had the best running offense in the NFL. They completely abandoned the run game in a pretty nonsensical game plan. They were down double digits, 10 points most of the game. It's not like they were down by 17 points like the 49ers were. I don't understand why the Ravens abandoned the run game like they did. I can assure you, Kyle Shanahan will not abandon the run game like he did. Even if they are down by 10, he will run the ball. The Chiefs' defense, as good as they were, finished 27th in the NFL, according to DVOA. That's a nice way of saying the 6th worst. Yeah, the Chiefs' pass defense is great, 5th best in the NFL, but if the Chiefs can't stop the run, it's not going to matter how good their passing defense is. Now, I will give the Chiefs credit. They did get burned for 3 quarters the week prior against the Bills by James Cook. They shored that up in the 4th quarter. James Cook literally had negative rushing yards in the 4th quarter, and that game was very, very close. They needed all of those yards, the Bills did. Now, on the other side of the ball, when the 49ers are on defense and the Chiefs are on offense, it's kind of the same story, but not to the same degree. The 49ers' biggest weakness, yes, is their run defense, and that actually came to a head in both of their playoff games. In the game against the Packers, Aaron Jones had 18 carries for 108 yards. Last week, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery combined for 138 yards on 27 carries. Again, the discrepancy is not as pronounced on this side of the ball. Overall, the 49ers had the 15th ranked rushing defense in the NFL, the 4th best passing defense. So again, much better in the pass than on the ground. On the year, now according to DVOA, the Chiefs, they only had the 17th ranked rushing offense. So that doesn't sound that impressive. But for context, the Packers only had the 15th ranked rushing offense in the NFL, and they torched the 49ers. And the Chiefs have kind of found their identity on offense with the run game, with Isaiah Pacheco, who's mostly been pretty good for them. He wasn't super efficient last week against the Ravens. The week prior against the Bills, he was great. And he has scored in 7 straight games. So even while the Chiefs' passing offense, which analytically still top 7 offense, generally tests pretty well, even when they were kind of going through their lull in the middle of the season, they had the run game, and when Pacheco was healthy, they were able to lean on him. So with all that said, what is my official prediction? Am I going to bet against the Chiefs for the 3rd straight week? Or am I going to back the 49ers for the 3rd straight week? I'm betting on the Chiefs. I'm taking the Chiefs money line. It's best offered at plus 100. Mahomes has been as good as ever. Their offense, yes, stalled out in the second half. The Ravens defense is a different animal than the 49ers defense. And what I come back to is the Chiefs can pressure you. They're an exotic defense. They can pressure you. And Brock Purdy, he's pretty good at escaping the pocket, and he can make plays under pressure. But he's mostly been bad in, again, the 8 playoff quarters. He had a great second half against the Lions. Yes, gifted by that crazy Ayuk play. Even outside of that, he still played well, and he was good in one drive against the Packers. So if you want to tell me that Brock Purdy has been good when he's needed to be, sure, that's fine. I will argue that playing good the whole game is also pretty important, and you can rely on that from Mahomes. And the Chiefs' defense is very good. Kelsey's been awesome this playoffs. The Chiefs have had at least Rishi Rice look good in the playoffs. MVS has stepped up a little bit. And then they can always rely on the run game with Pacheco. Torch the 49ers defense like the previous 2 teams had. So I'm riding with the Chiefs. That's my official prediction. If I had to give a prediction on the total, I do think that it would actually go over, would be my guess. I know how bad the Chiefs offense and how good their defense is last week against the Ravens. I still would lean towards this going over. That's not an official play. My official play is the Chiefs money line. And that's all we got. I'm pumped for this game, even though I wanted both the Ravens and the Lions to win. I still think this is going to be an awesome game. Rematch of the 2019-2020 season Super Bowl. Let's hope that my bet comes through. Let's hope that your bets come through as well. And that's all we got. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Appreciate everybody who has been rocking with me this entire season. A ton of Super Bowl content to come. Player props, touchdowns, specials, all that stuff to come. Just had to get out this little bit of a betting preview. And that's all we got. Again, thanks for watching and have a good one.